It has taken me a ridiculously long time to get organized for this video, but I think I'm finally there. Hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. I will say as well, I actually finally figured out how to lessen the background noise in my audio, so hopefully you can tell a difference in the audio of my videos from now on because I have finally figured out how to do that, and yeah, here we are. Thank God. I finally figured that out. Yay. In today's video, I am going to be talking about all of my 5-star reads. These are my ride or die books. Some of them I rated 5 stars a very long time ago, so I don't know if they would still be 5 stars, but these are all the books that I've rated 5 stars. If you are wondering, this is my daughter's teddy bear, but he lives in our bedroom. I say our, my husband's and I. And my husband's and my bedroom. I love him very much. So thank you to Ivy's auntie and uncle for buying this for her because she loves him and I love him. So that's great success rate in our house. Talking about all the books that I have rated 5 stars, I don't have them in any kind of particular order, although I have separated them into groups. I have romance, and then I have any type of fiction, like historical fiction, literary fiction, contemporary fiction, that is all in one pile. I have a couple, not many, but I have a couple of young adults, and then I have fantasy, all things fantasy. Fantasy is my favorite genre, if you didn't know that already. I'm going to save that for last because it is my favorite genre and I love all things fantasy and being in worlds that are not like ours at all. I think we will start with the couple of young adult books that I have, and I'm just going to go through them all. Hopefully I can give you a little rundown and you can gather from that whether or not you should read them yourself and add them to your TBR. Starting off, the first book we have in the young adult section is The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. Quite a dark, deep, heavy read for a young adult book, so I would check your trigger warnings before going into this read. But as for what it is about, it's about a young girl, Eden, who gets... I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. What are the rules? That happens to her, and the book is about her journey of surviving that and going through that in high school and having some kids be not so nice to her about certain aspects of her life and trying to stay strong and stay courageous while being in a really dark, sad and scary place. It is emotional. I cried. I just think it was really, really well done. I connected to the writing. I connected to the characters. I just really felt for them. I just wanted her to be okay. 5 stars. Obviously, it's 5 stars. I rated it 5 stars, and this book is about all the books that I rated 5 stars. That's so silly of me. I'm sorry. Second young adult book that I have is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I first read this when I was 14 and I have reread it several million times. I've already spoken about it on my channel a couple of times. This is like the OG book for me. It ignited my love for reading and it also changed my life and my experience through high school because of reading this. This is very, very close to my heart. I absolutely adore the characters and the story in this. It follows a boy named Miles who gets sent to boarding school, and from there he basically makes a family with his friends from high school, and at this boarding school he is trying to figure out, I guess, essentially like the meaning of life. He has some really impactful teachers. He falls in love with a girl. Her name is Alaska, and she is very up and down. She is going through a lot herself, and it basically follows his journey of understanding love and the meaning of life and trying to figure out who he is, as well as be there for his friends. So it is a wonderful, wonderful story. It is beautifully written. That is all I have for the young adult section. I do have a couple of young adult fantasies, but I'm just going to keep those in the fantasy section. I'm going to talk about all the fiction, literary fiction, contemporary fiction, historical fiction. Starting off, a little lie. I'm not even going to try and say the author's name. I will just zoom in. I'm so sorry. I will actually butcher that if I tried to say it. I did rate this 5 stars. My actual recommendation for this is don't read it. That's crazy to say because I did rate it 5 stars and I did annotate it. But no, I do not recommend this book. If you are a highly sensitive and highly emotional person and you feel things beyond the average amount of feeling, don't read this. Just don't do it to yourself. I recommend looking after your own mental health, making sure you are having a life that is full of quality and love and light. And this is so sad and so upsetting and awful. I just don't recommend it. Then we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Can you see that? It's a shiny cover. My husband actually bought this for me when he went over to America to go to a friend's wedding. So this is one of my prized possessions. It is my dream to go to a Barnes & Noble. I just would love to experience that. This is about Sadie and Sam, and it follows their journey of making a video game. While that is the premise of it, it is about video games. It is also about love and life and mistakes, traumas, and the characters are flawed, they are unique, they all have very individual characteristics. It is just about so much more than a video game. It is a little bit slow to get into and you have to definitely concentrate to fully grasp and understand the characters and what they're going through. Once you get into it and once you are connected and invested in what they're going through, it is really moving and just a beautiful story about life. Next, I have a few books from the same author. It would be criminal of me to not mention this author. Whoopsie. We have the Beartown trilogy by Frederick Bachman and My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I've only read these books by him. I've read one of his short stories as well, but I've read the whole trilogy of Beartown and then I've read My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I recommend all of this. Frederick Bachman has this way of describing life and his perspective and outlook on the world and the people in the world is just one of the most beautiful and magical things that I have ever read. He makes me love life. As weird as that is to say, but reading his stories make me appreciate and love my life more because he just points out all these tiny little minute details that you you overlook every day. He points them out and he makes you think about them and you just go away appreciating all the little things that you have in your life. Beartown, you've heard me talk about it endless amount of times at this point. I will quickly go over it, but basically it follows Beartown, the town. It follows all of the characters within the town. And I'm not joking when I say all of the characters in the town. It follows everybody, everyone's perspectives, what everyone is going through, all the tiny little things going on in the background of the town. It all revolves around hockey. It's kind of like Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, as in it all revolves around this one thing, like Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow revolves around video games. Beartown revolves around hockey, but the book itself is about so much more than hockey. It is about people, it is about love, it is about life. At its core, I believe, it is just about humanity and people coming together to survive whatever it is that they're going through. And these stories are so good. Check your trigger warnings. This one does have quite a significant event that happens at the beginning. There's no like trigger warning page. There's nothing. I didn't see it coming and I was kind of shocked. I was like, whoa. Then we have My Friends, and this one follows a young girl. Her name is Louisa. How could I forget that? Her name's Louisa, and she is an aspiring artist. She has this postcard. She's an orphan. I'll start off by saying that. She's an orphan. She has this postcard that is from her mum that says, "I'll be back soon, I think. Be back soon. Potentially. Be back soon, mum." Anyway, that's a small detail. On the front of the postcard that she has is a picture of a famous painting. This painting goes up for auction, and so she takes it upon herself to run away from the orphanage and break into the auction where the painting is being sold, to see it in real life, because she absolutely adores the painting. It's her favorite painting in the whole world. So she breaks in just to see the painting in real life. She just wants to look at it. She doesn't want to touch it. She doesn't want to steal it. She just wants to look at it. She just wants to see it with her own eyes. From there, the book flows on and she ends up meeting the artist of said painting. They connect because they have had similar history in terms of having quite a tumultuous upbringing and a bit of a heavier, rougher upbringing. They connect on that level. The artist does everything that he possibly can to help her out and make sure that she goes on to live her life to the fullest. You just go on a journey with Louisa, being told the story of the artist's life when he was young with his friends that he made when he was 14, 15 years old, and this epic summer that they had as kids. And it just tells the story of that, and it is truly, truly beautiful. It is a wonderful story. I was crying, I was laughing, there's a lot of humor. The quotes that I got out of this are stunning. I annotated like every page. Beautiful, beautiful. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. If you've seen my other videos, I'm so sorry for always talking about this, but I can't do this video without talking about this book. This is one of my all-time absolute most favorite books in the whole wide world. It is truly a masterpiece to me. Look at the tabs. It's a historical fiction. It follows World War II. You're in Germany and you are in Paris, France. You're following a young girl who is completely blind. Her name is Marie. She's completely blind. You're following her from a very young age. I believe it starts out when she's like 6. And then you're also following a young boy in Germany. His name is Werner. Hopefully that's right. It changes perspectives. It switches through a lot of perspectives. You follow the young blind girl in the war zone trying to survive and everything that she goes through to survive. You also follow Werner being sent away to school to become a soldier for the German army. Everything that he has to go through that is very shocking and confronting for a young boy to go through, trying to also survive in a war. Then from there, it follows a jewel called the Sea of Flames. Marie's dad works at the National History Museum in Paris, and he is the locksmith. And basically, to protect all of their assets, they kind of hide them and send them with different individuals as they run away from Paris to get out of the war. Marie's dad is handed a copy of the Sea of Flames. I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to give spoilers, but you follow the journey of these 2 kids going through the war, and then you follow the journey of the stone and what people are doing to try and get the stone and try and find it. There's just a lot of added layers, and it comes together to tell the most beautiful, sad piece of artwork of a story. The feeling I get inside me when I read this book is something that I truly cannot explain. I just love it so much. The way that it all folds together and all the little things add up to get to the end. I'm obsessed. Another historical fiction, we have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is very, very popular book, so I'm sure a lot of people have already read this. This is also set in World War II in Paris and a small town outside of Paris, somewhere in France. It follows the journey of two sisters. One of them is a mother and has a daughter. Her husband is sent away to fight in the war, and then the other woman is she's not a mother, she's not married, she's not attached to anybody, and it kind of follows their two journeys of what they think is right and what they think is wrong, and trying to survive within the war and what they do to help, essentially. It is very, very moving. It is very, very sad. I was crying so much at the end of this book. If you want an emotional tearjerker and you love reading about women's fiction and strong women in history, this is a great, great book, and I think everyone should pick this up. Alright, I'm back. I just got distracted by my phone, as you do. This is Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. I think this cover is stunning. I listened to this on audio actually, and I still managed to give it 5 stars because I just really, really enjoyed it. The audiobook is narrated by, what's her name? Let me find out. Meryl Streep. The audiobook is narrated by Meryl Streep, and oh my god, she did an amazing job of this. I mean, she is an amazing actor, so why would she not do an amazing job of narrating this book? But I just really enjoyed listening to her tell this story. This woman has 3 daughters, and they go to her and ask her to tell the story of this love that she had when she was young and an actor. Her retelling the story to her 3 daughters of when she acted with this guy and they had a bit of a romance, and it tells that story. It has a really, really nice message of understanding that a big love is not always the right love. Does that make sense? As in the big, hugely emotional, can't breathe without them, can't live without them, feel like you're going to die unless they're there with you. That kind of big, all-encompassing love is not always the love that you thrive on and the love that you choose for your forever love, I guess. I just loved that story. I absolutely adored it. I just think it was really well done, really well written, very, very magical, and yeah, it just was a really, really nice story. Lastly, in the literary fiction, contemporary fiction section, I have 2 books by Sally Rooney, Normal People and Beautiful World, Where Are You? Sally Rooney is a bit of a hard one, honestly. Her writing style is really, really interesting, and it definitely takes me a second to get into it and understand where she's going and what she's getting at in her story. So they're not easy reads, but I definitely enjoy her stories. I don't know if I am giving these 5 stars because of the story itself and the characters, or if I'm just giving them 5 stars because of the writing and what I get from the writing. She puts some really profound thoughts and thinking into her writing, and it always gives me something to take away and something to highlight, something to think about in my own life, and I always really enjoy that in books. I love when books give me something to take away, you know, empathy or perspective changes or viewpoint changes, and understanding where other people are coming from, people who are different to me, that sort of thing. I really love that aspect in books. So I don't know if I would give these 5 stars simply for the characters and the story. I definitely love her writing. Like, I highlight a lot of stuff in her books, and she's famous for not using quotation marks, so that's always a really interesting experience when you're reading her books. As for what these are about, Normal People is the story of a young girl and a young boy, and basically they just live their life and they keep coming together and then separating. So they keep crossing paths, connecting, and they share this really deep emotional connection and understanding of each other, but then they will go their separate ways and keep learning and living life, and then somehow come back together, and it just continues doing that throughout the entire book. But it is really, really good. It just follows, I hate to say it, but it just follows normal people. Then Beautiful World, Where Are You? I honestly kind of forget what this one is about. I know I really enjoyed the writing in this, but I can't actually remember. I think it's about a writer who kind of goes to a house she inherited, maybe. Yeah, okay, so it follows a writer. She kind of escapes to this house to continue writing, and she's dealing with like the fame of being a writer and everyone knowing what she's written. And then she meets this guy and she asks him to go to Rome with her. Yeah, she asked him to go to Rome with her. I think she's doing like a press tour for her book. It just follows their journey of not knowing what they want, not knowing if they're connecting or if they're not meant to be together. The plot of this is eluding me, but I did like the writing. Let me find some proof that I liked the writing. Here we go. So I always just really enjoy her books because I get a lot of good quotes and things to highlight and talk about in her books. Alrighty, moving on. Now I think I'm going to talk about romance, and then we just have fantasy to go. Now some of these are series, so I've just picked up like 1 or 2 books from the series, but I probably recommend the entire series if I'm obsessed. Starting off with Binding 13. I'm obsessed with this series. I freaking love it. I adore the characters. I'm deeply invested in what they're going through. I want to see them do well and get through what they're going through. They have a lot of flaws. They have a lot of traumas. They are going through some serious shit. Binding 13 is the first book in the Boys of Tommen series. It's not a complete series. There's only 6 books out at the moment, and there is, I don't know how many coming. They're all really big books. They are very chunky. I devoured this book in like 2 days, and it's over 800 pages, and I devoured it in 2 days. As soon as I picked it up, I was like, oh, I'm done. I am done for. Get me sitting in my room with my cup of tea, and I'll be here. Start reading this. This follows Shannon and Johnny, and it is their love story. That's what it is. It's a romance novel, so it is their love story. They are in high school, and so it is a book about young people, young students, young people, young characters, 15, 16, 17 years old. It follows the journey of them connecting and meeting at school because Shannon ends up changing to the school that Johnny goes to, and Johnny is this big famous footballer in the school. He is like the star pupil of the school. Everybody loves him. He's going to go on and do amazing and great things. He has wonderful parents. They give him every opportunity to be successful. He meets Shannon, who has been transferred to his school, and on her first day he like hits her in the head with a football and like nearly knocks her out basically. From there they connect, and he does a lot to protect her. I will say that he does a lot to protect her. Any of these books, I would check your trigger warnings. Go in expecting trauma and expecting triggers to come up. Oh my god, so obsessed. Once you start, you just cannot stop. Then we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I read this a really long time ago. I honestly cannot remember anything about the characters. I do know that Archer he doesn't speak, but he can speak, but he doesn't speak. Let me just read the back of the book to you because I want to do it justice. I did love this book. I did enjoy their love story. I wanted to lose myself in the small town of Pelion, Maine, to forget everything I had left behind. The sound of rain, the blood, the coldness of a gun against my skin. For 6 months, each breath has been a reminder that I survived, and my dad didn't. I'm almost safe again, but the moment I meet Archer Hale, my entire world tilts on its axis and never rights itself again. Until I trespass into his strange, silent, and isolated world, Archer communicates with no one. Yet in his whiskey-coloured eyes, something intangible happens between us. There's so much more to him than just his beauty, his presence, or the ways his hands communicate with me. But this town is mired in secrets and betrayals, and Archer is the explosive center of it all. So much passion and so much hurt, but it's in Archer's silence that we might just find what we need to heal and to live. It's really, really good. Taylor Jenkins Reid stories. I have 3. I don't have the physical copy of one. Hopefully you can see that. This one is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Six, and then Atmosphere. And I just read this a couple of days ago. I do have a reading vlog coming out of this. I think it'll be out actually by the time you're seeing this, so you would have seen me literally bawling my eyes out reading this. I got so emotional. Taylor Jenkins Reid is an amazing author. She is so, so good, and I really love her stories. I connect with a lot of them. I've read, I think these 3 I've read, and I've also read One True Loves and Carrie Soto is Back. I have read quite a few of her books, but these 3 are my 5-star reads, obviously. Starting off with Atmosphere. This follows a woman named Joan. She is an astrophysics professor and she studies the stars. The book follows her journey of applying to NASA to become an astronaut in the 1980s, and then it also follows the journey of her making friends, falling in love, training to become an astronaut. This story ripped my heart out and put it back together again. Barely. I love these characters. I connected so deeply to them. The writing, I tabbed literally freaking everything in this book. I loved the writing, the lessons in this. Joan is a woman after my own heart. I adore her. As I was reading this, I was like actually in the book. You know how in Mary Poppins you jump into the chalk picture and then you fall into the picture and you're part of that world? I was in this book. I was experiencing it. I was going through it. I could picture it so perfectly in my head. Like it was all just playing like a beautiful movie. It got me so emotional. I was just crying and crying and crying. I loved the overall message, the message of the beauty and joy that you can find in life, and I love Joan's character development, and she just really grew into her own and became this wonderful, strong woman. Oh, read this book. Daisy Jones and the Six follows Daisy Jones and the Six, the band. There is a TV show on this one which I've also watched and really enjoyed. It's written like an interview. I don't know if you can see, but it's like the name of the character and then what they say. And it's basically someone's interviewing them and they're giving their answers. And it's like how you would watch a TV show. It follows the band, what they go through and falling in love. It's all things rock and roll. It's drugs and sex and affairs and drama. It is filled to the brim with that sort of stuff, but it is humans being humans, and absolutely loved it. Loved it. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Adios to all those books. This was my first Taylor Jenkins read. I just thought it was, the concept of it was great, fantastic. Evelyn Hugo is a very famous woman. She is an actress, and the book essentially explains how she became so famous and how she became married to 7 different men. And then there's this underlying story that I won't tell because I don't want to give anything away, but I thought it was genius. Genius, I tell you. It's like you pick up the book and you've been misled from the beginning, and then you realize what's actually going on and why she's marrying 7 different guys, and it's genius. That's all I can say. Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is the only Emily Henry book that I have rated 5 stars. Emily Henry has a really stunning writing style. It's like she picks her words delicately and really thinks about what word is the right one to use for every single sentence. For what it's about, it is about our 2 main characters. They're both dating and in relationships, And then the female main character's husband, actually no, I think they're engaged. Her fiance ends up leaving her for the male main character's girlfriend. They've known each other since childhood, so they decide to get together. They break up with their partners, and then Daphne, our female main character, ends up moving in with the ex girlfriend of the male main character, Miles. They end up rooming together, and it just follows them becoming friends and then having a bit of a prank play on their exes and fake dating. It is a really, really good story, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The concept of it is funny, but it's still written in a serious manner. I mean, it has humor and it has fun, witty banter in it, but it's still written in a serious way. So I definitely enjoyed this and thought it was really, really good. Last ones I have for the romance section are The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings and The Magnolia Parks Universe, which is a series, and this is the first book, Magnolia Parks. And I just wanted to use my special edition copy because I absolutely love the special edition. They cost an arm and a leg, but love them. Magnolia Parks is the toxic relationship between Magnolia and BG. It follows their journey. It has found family. They're called the box set of this group of friends that they made when they went to boarding school, and they are high society London. They are very, very rich kids. I think they're around 23 years old in the book. It's kind of like Gossip Girl. It has a lot of drama. There is a lot of toxicity, miscommunication galore, lots and lots of miscommunication, but I didn't find it annoying. Normally I do not like miscommunication. I think it's just really annoying, and you're just like screaming at the characters to just pull it together and talk it out. This is done in a way where I wasn't annoyed at the miscommunication. I was just like deeply annoyed at the characters, but also just obsessed with them. They have a lot of toxic characteristics and they do a lot of toxic stuff. They're just doing things to each other to one up the other and get back at each other and cause pain, basically, all because they are obsessed with each other and in love. All is fair in love and war, as they say. Above and beyond all of that, I love Jessa Hastings' writing. I love how she writes. She writes like how you speak. She writes how you think. Just the non-stop monologue of thoughts going on in your brain is what she jots down on paper, and it is moving. It is poetic, and it just gets me. It gets me every single time. I love it. I highlight so much stuff in her books. If we have a look at, I've really made a mess in here, at The Conditions of Will, I have tabbed the living heck out of this book. I just love how she writes. If anything is going to get me to rate a book 5 stars, even if I don't like the characters, it's going to be good writing. The Conditions of Will is about a girl named Georgia. Someone in her family ends up passing away, and she goes back home for the funeral and to see her family and deal with the fallout from said passing away. Her family is filled with drama and a lot of judgment, I guess. Quite a judgy family. Her brother is a struggling addict, so he has a sponsor, and she goes back home to deal with the fallout from the funeral and just spend some time with her family. She has been studying at university. She studies psychology, and she is renowned for being a human lie detector. So she can tell all those tiny little micro details of when you're telling the truth and when you're lying. And she can read it in your face and how you talk, how you present yourself, all your little mannerisms that you do. I found that super, super interesting. I was like, oh my God. And then as you're reading, you're kind of like walking around, I'm walking around the house kind of testing Jared to see if he's lying, because I'm intrigued by all of this stuff, and I have a bachelor in psychology, so I did find the psychology side of it really, really interesting. I would say it is insta love. She kind of like runs into this guy, and falls in love with him instantly, but the way that it is described and portrayed in the book, I didn't mind it at all. I kind of liked it. I thought it was honest and fair, so really recommend this one as well. Last but not least romance book that I have is, can you see that? I'm sorry, my screen is so shiny, but it's Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. Check your trigger warnings. This book is super emotional. Does not shy away from graphic depictions of really difficult things to read. That being said, I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was beautifully written about some really scary, horrific stuff that women go through every single day. I've only read that book from Kennedy Ryan, so that makes me really excited to read more of her books. It is a sports romance. It follows the NBL, so it's basketball romance, and it is really good. I mean, I think it was written in a really strong way. I think it was very honest, very raw, and I really appreciate that in books. I think, you know, if you can talk about some serious topics and talk about some dark stuff in a way that makes people fall in love with the characters even more, I think you're doing something really right in your life. As you can tell, I just really like really emotional books. Books that make me cry. Moving on to our last section of fantasy books, I might talk about the 2 fantasy books that I don't have physical copies of. The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I really loved this book. If you like trials and games, a bit of forced proximity, vampires, building up to a war, there is ordinary people within the vampire city. I just thought the world was really cool. I didn't find it hard to grasp, but I thought it was fun and I loved the romance in it. I thought that was really well done as well. The games and the trials are really fun. I loved the idea of there being kind of like slums in the city, where the slums are where the ordinary people live, and they're trying to survive in a city full of vampires, so obviously that's very difficult, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. The next one is The Sword of Kaigan. Oh my god, what the... This book had me in a roller coaster. I really struggled to get into it at the start. I was posting things on Fable being like, I might DNF this, should I keep going? And I was at like maybe 20% of the way through. I really struggled to get into it. And luckily I had a few people comment and message me saying, keep going, like it'll pick up, it'll get better. And oh my god, it got so much better. To going from like really struggling to get into it to rating it 5 stars, in between there, a hell of a journey, really a hell of a journey. It follows a mother. She has been married off into this high up family, and it follows her journey of raising kids and being a mother and finding her identity in that, while also mourning the identity that she's lost of being a woman that was, you know, doing things herself and not having to be responsible for kids and not having to be responsible for a husband. And she had her own capabilities and talents and things that she did as a woman. Got married into this family and had kids, and it was stripped away from her, it was taken away. It just follows her journey of figuring that out, showing her son, it follows one of her sons, showing him that she had an entire life before he was born, and him kind of realizing that and understanding that. It does have a big massive fight scene. There is a little bit of magic in it, but not tons. Like, it's not a hard world to understand, it's not a hard concept to understand, so I really liked that one. Then, starting off with our physical books, we have The Song of Achilles. This is one of the first fantasy books that I ever read. This book just ripped my heart out and failed to put it back together. It's a retelling of Achilles. This was really good. It follows Achilles and him falling in love and growing up to be the man that he is, the soldier that he is, fighting in this war and trying to win. It is beautifully beautifully written. I highlighted so many things. I did find it hard to get into at the start. I thought it was slow at the start, but it's because you start off so young. You're following the story from when the boys are such a young age, and as they grow up, heart-wrenching. Like, read this, went on a hiatus for a few days because I was that emotionally drained after reading this, but so good. I then have the Shadow and Bone series. I didn't rate Shadow and Bone 5 stars, but I did rate the final book in the trilogy 5 stars. So Ruin and Rising, if you can see that. It's kind of reflecting. I did rate Ruin and Rising, the third and final book in the trilogy, 5 stars. I just really loved this world. Leigh Bardugo is amazing at building fantasy worlds. This was a really cool one. It does have a show if you want to watch the show, but I think you have to read Six of Crows, which is like the follow-on story from Shadow and Bone. It was just really fun. I loved the magic system. I loved the world. I loved the quests and the journeys that they go on. What is her name? Alina. Alina discovers that she has powers. She grew up not having powers, and then something happens and she discovers that she actually does have powers, and the universe has basically been searching for her or waiting for her to come and save the day. So she's like the chosen one. She has to go and do this training and learn how to use her powers, and then go on this journey to solve the issues that are going on in this world and solve the problems that are happening within the world. And I really loved this story. I loved the characters, the found family. I enjoyed all the animals, and the magic was really fascinating. So read them. No surprises here. This is A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book in the ACOTAR series. ACOTAR by Sarah J Maas. This is kind of controversial, but I'm not a huge Sarah J Maas fan. I've read Throne of Glass. I'll bring these up as well. I've read Throne of Glass. I've read ACOTAR. While I think they're good, and while I enjoyed reading them and I loved the worlds and the characters, I'm not a massive fan, and I think it's more her writing style than anything else. That might be controversial, but A Court of Mist and Fury, ACOTAR follows Feyre. So you start off with A Court of Thorns and Roses. I didn't like that book. I didn't enjoy it at all. I did like this one, and I did like the story that this one follows. I'm not gonna explain what it's about because that would give spoilers. And then I did like the next book after this one. What is that called? ACOWAR, A Court of War and Ruin. I think that's what it's called. So this one and ACOWAR are my favorite from ACOTAR. The rest kind of fall off for me. I didn't enjoy them. Feyre I find super annoying as well. But the love story in this, that is why I rated 5 stars, because I just really enjoyed the love story in this. Then we have Tower of why am I saying Tower of Dawn? The Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. Also didn't rate a lot of the books in this series 5 stars. I did rate Kingdom of Ash 5 stars, and I did rate Tower of Dawn 5 stars. And this book is my favorite book out of the series. This follows characters that everybody hates. I don't know what that says about me, but this was my favorite book in the whole series. I love Cale. I love his character arc. I'm a stan. And then Kingdom of Ash, really good. I did really enjoy this. The world is great. The characters and the love stories and the interconnectedness of everybody in this story is really good. I just don't think Sarah J Maas is like my Roman Empire of the fantasy world, I guess. A lot of people use her books to get into fantasy as well, and I didn't do that. I had been reading fantasy for many years, so maybe that's why I'm not like her biggest fan, because I've lost more books. Maybe that's why I'm not a huge Sarah J Maas fan, because I didn't use her books to get back into reading or to get into fantasy. It is what it is. Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I think that's how you say it. This is a trilogy. This is the first book in the trilogy, and it is the only one in the trilogy that I really recommend. I don't think the second and the third book in the series are all that great, but this I really loved. I recommend going in blind to pretty much any book other than like super traumatic books that you should check trigger warnings for, but it doesn't have a whole heap of information on the back, so I will just read that to you. It says, bound as one to love, honor, or burn, a witch and a witch hunter thrust together in holy matrimony. There was only one way such a story could end, a stake and a match. I loved the romance. I thought it was really good. My camera battery is about to die. I'll talk to you in a second. Okay, hopefully that looks the same. We have 3 more books left and then we are out of here. Powerless. I don't know if I would rate this 5 stars if I read it again now, if I did a reread. I did read it quite a few years ago now. I definitely read it when there was like huge hype on it. It was the new best thing out when it came out. I definitely had a lot of fun reading this, and I definitely liked the romance in it. It is a romantasy. It follows Kai and Peyton and their romance story. Peyton is she's an ordinary human, and she is surviving in a world of elite characters, elite people who have powers. They range from a whole bunch of different things. She gets chosen because she ends up saving Kai, who is a head guard for the king. He's the son of the king, so he's a prince. She ends up saving his life, and then the town where she lives votes her in to go into this trial in these games to represent the town and the people. She has to try and survive as an ordinary person within these trials and these games, and she ends up making a connection with Kai, and they kind of team up and band together and survive. I definitely think the world building is not fantastic. It does draw a lot of inspiration from other stories. Now that it has been years since I read it, and I have finished the trilogy now, I've read the next 2 books in the series, which is Reckless and Fearless. Reckless and Fearless really dropped off for me, and I didn't enjoy them. I still liked aspects of them, and I still felt that they were fun, and the world is fun to be in, but they definitely dropped off. I didn't enjoy the story of them, and I don't want to admit that this is my feelings for it, but thinking about it now, this book has a lot of aspects in it that are inspired from other stories. I haven't read the story Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, I believe her name is. I know this book takes a lot of inspiration from her story, and it takes a lot of inspiration from the Hunger Games. It has trials and games and that kind of Hunger Games-esque vibe. This was really fun because of those aspects, and I did like the romance in it, although looking back now, because the 2 follow-on books from this really fell off for me and I didn't enjoy them, and I thought that they were really repetitive and lacking plot, lacking depth. I hate to think that it's because they were her follow-on books from this very heavily inspired one book. Does that make sense? Then we have Fourth Wing. It's kind of the same thing. I definitely read this at a time when there was a lot of hype around it and people were just flooding bookstores to pick this up. I have reread this year and still gave it 5 stars. I have a lot of fun with this story, but same thing, the second 2 books after this one have fallen off for me and I didn't enjoy them as much as I enjoyed this one. The world of Fourth Wing is really fun. The school setting, the dragons, the romance, the fight training, the ability to speak to dragons, Violet being able to feel and think and have conversations with her dragon in her head. I think that is so cool. I love when that is in books. I love when characters can talk to animals. I think that goes from my love of Dr. Dolittle 3 when I was a kid, of Maya going to the ranch and being able to talk to all the animals and save the day. I love that movie. 5 stars for Fourth Wing. I just think this is really fun, although book 2 and book 3 I'm a bit torn on. Book 2 I could do without it completely. I think it was a useless book. Book 3 was okay. It picked up a little bit. I'll probably continue reading on in the series. What this one is about, it follows Violet and it follows Xaden. Violet is the daughter of a general in the world that they live in, and they have different quadrants. You can be a scribe, you can be a healer, you can be a rider, so ride the dragons. And she was all geared up and set ready to go and be a scribe. That's what she wanted to do. That's what she studied with with her dad. Then her mum comes and basically is like, no, you're not going to be a scribe, you're going to be a writer, off you go. And basically like kicks her out the door to go be a writer, and then she has to go through all these trials to become a writer and survive these things that are high stakes. There is a lot of building up in this story for what's coming next in the following books. There's a war, there is things that they are training for specifically to go and help out in the real world when they graduate, but then it also just follows the romance between her and Xaden, who is this big, Sally, cranky, grumpy, shadow magic man. Honestly, I love being a bit grumpy sometimes, so I can relate to him. Last book we have on this massive list of 5-star reads. I didn't think I had this many, but apparently I just give every single book 5 stars. Last one is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I'm kind of glad this is the last one because I really, really love this book and I cannot wait for book 2 to come out. I really hope it comes out when they say it's going to come out. I'm pretty sure it comes out October this year. I will confirm. I really hope they don't push it back because I am so excited for book 2. I love this world. It's so unique. I thought it was so unique. It has dragons. End of story. I just don't think I've ever read something quite like this. It blew me away. You definitely have to concentrate. There is a lot of world building, a lot of info dumping at the start, but I love the characters. I love the romance in this. I love the dragons. And I love the world. What I picture in my head is just really, really unique and beautiful. Basically, the world is kind of like, picture a world and then you have the sunny part. I can't remember what it's called. Is there a map? There's literally a glossary, so that gets you geared up for the world building. There is a map, so I can show you. So looking at this, if I can explain it to you right, this top half, so the world, and then you have this middle part, the distinction between the two sections. The fade is the middle section in between the shade and the burn. So you have the burn, the fade, and the shade. The shade is really cold and dark and dreary. It has certain types of dragons that live in the shade, and then you have the burn, which is like sunny deserts, sand, really hot climate, and then you have certain types of dragons that can survive in that land. I just think that is so cool. Like, you're traveling and you're going on a journey and you have to cross from the burn to the shade, and some dragons, you know, don't survive, and really interesting world and story in this. I loved the romance. I thought it was really well done, and I can't wait to see where it goes in book 2. You're following a girl. Her name is Rave. Within the book, you're also getting these like journal entries from this princess from a long time ago. You follow Rave on her journey. She's an assassin. She is paid to like people. She ends up being found by this guy and then has to go with him, and he is, you know, a big hunk of a man. He is everything you dream of in an MMC. I just love the journey that this book took me on. Really magical and wonderful and beautiful. That is it for all the books that I have rated 5 stars. This video is going to take me so long to edit because I have been recording for so long. Hopefully I can shorten it up a little bit for you guys, but hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you added a few of these books to your TBR for you to read in the future. That being said, it is time for me to wrap things up and move on. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you would like to come on this journey with me. I am having a lot of fun. I just love chatting about books, and I'll take all the support that I can get. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books or if you rated any of these books 5 stars as well. I would love to chat about it. Hopefully I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.